Hey everyone, so today we're going to take a look at my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K rig. So what I'm going to do is just build it out and tell you the pieces that I'm using as we're going. And I'll put links in the description below. And a lot of these pieces I use these mostly because I just already had them from my Sony rig, most of them. There's a few new pieces, and I'll tell you why I got these certain ones. Let's go ahead and just start building it out, starting with my small rig 12-inch 15mm rails, and the Fotka DP500 mounting plate. Now, I like this for the mirrorless cameras and DSLRs that aren't tall enough to reach the matte box. The 6K camera will do fine if you have a different plate. There's another small rig plate that I really like that I need to get again. Still, I like this plate a lot because you can raise the platform itself to, if your camera is just small and it needs to go up higher for whatever reason to fit your follow focus, for whatever reason, it's a great piece. And it really isn't bad. The only thing I don't like is that it just doesn't feel super secure on the camera cage. So I'll go ahead and mount these up. I don't know exactly where I want them yet, but I'll just roughly lock it in here. The other nice thing about this plate is it has a lens support thread. So if I have not yet come across a lens with the mount that goes right there, they're just slightly off. This one is slightly off. So I haven't even been able to use it, which is another thing I don't like about this, but still a great piece. So I have my plate on my rails there. Next thing, we're gonna go ahead and throw the camera into the small rig cage. This isn't the updated version. I guess they had an old version. This is now the updated version with a better locking system underneath for the camera. And what's nice about it is that basically it not only has the 1/4-20 thread that goes into the camera, but it's got these two little pins that also go into the bottom of the camera to hold it in place. So I really like that design. I really like that Blackmagic did that with their camera, and that small rig adapted a cage for it. So now you want to try and make sure that you get the body in the cage straight. So I just kind of eyeball the bottom edge with the camera edge, because you will notice that your lens is slightly off-centered to the matte box when you put it on the full rig. So I've got the body in the cage now. I'm going to attach the Fotka plate that goes right in here onto the bottom of my cage. And what's nice is this has two different sized threads so that it's really secure. You're not relying on just one like most tripods. This one has two threads so that it really stays straight and firmly in the cage. Perfect. Now I've got the plate mounted onto the cage. That goes in there. I won't do that yet because I still have a few more things. Next, I'm going to attach the small rig top handle. I like the rubber grip one. It just feels, it's a good quality rubber that it's not going to like get sweaty and oily and feel like it's about to fall out of your hands. This is a good quality rubber, great grip. So I'm going to put that on the top here. It also has a nice cold shoe mount right there if you need to mount anything. And this thing just goes right on the center. Okay, so I've got my basic cage with handle and plate ready to go. I'm going to throw my lens on. What's nice about the 6K is it's got the EF mount, and a lot of people like it, don't like it, make your decision, but it's nice if you've already got some Canon lenses. I have a few, my wife has a few lenses that I'm able to use with it, but I went ahead and got the Zine EF mount 24mm lens, and this thing is silky smooth picture, and I love it. It's a big lens, but man, it looks good. And another note, the 6K does have autofocus. It's not particularly good. It's kind of a tap on the screen and it'll focus, but it won't rack. You can't set like 2 points and rack between them, and it won't continuously autofocus. So I figured because I'm not going to be relying on the autofocus function, I'm going to get a nice manual focus lens. And, you know, depending on your history, the gear you already have, it might be worth it for you to get a nice autofocus lens that can work with your Canon bodies. I don't have any Canon bodies that I really want to use because I'm shooting on Sony. If I'm not shooting on this, I'm shooting on Sony. So I went ahead and bought a nice manual focus lens, and I really like it. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw this onto the plate, and we'll lock that down. And we may need to adjust our rails a little bit, depending on where our matte box is and where our battery, everything, but we'll go through that in a second. All right, so we've got the rails on there. And now another note, something I noticed in all the reviews that I've been watching, you know, they pick up the camera and it looks like a large DSLR. It looks like, you know, a 5D or a D800, that kind of size, but it's actually a little bit bigger and pretty bulky. I mean, when you pick this thing up, it's large. And so the whole rig is pretty big. So that's really one of the reasons you need to build a rig for this thing. Also, the short battery life. The short battery life and the cost of the internal cards. You know, a good SDXC card is pretty expensive. One that can write fast enough and have a high capacity. Same with CFast cards. I went with the package deal where they give you a Samsung T5 1 terabyte for an extra like 150 bucks. And I think it works awesome. It doesn't have fast enough write speeds for the highest quality RAW, but it will do the RAW at Q5 pretty well. So, you know, great. And then that gives you some extra time recording, and it's still amazing quality. So Samsung T5 drive, get to that in a second. Let's keep building out the rig. So now, because this lens won't fit into this lens support guy, they're just way far apart. I have the Fotka DP500. I think it came with the matte box lens support, 15mm lens support adapter here. So just slide that in, and still may need to adjust positions for everything. Oops, going the wrong way. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and put the matte box on next. Now, this setup, like I said, I need to get a new plate, but this setup will be slightly higher than the actual center of your matte box. So you'll need to figure out what the best plate is. If I come across one, I will add that to the description and give a disclaimer saying this one's better. Right now, I'm still using the Fotka DP500 quick release plate mounting system with the rails. So now I'm going to throw on the Fotka DP500 matte box. This thing is amazing for the money. I wish it had a little bit more versatility in its raising and lowering system, because, like I said, the lens is just a little too high for the center, and I've already raised the matte box as much as I can. But still, you won't be able to see. You won't see any rings on the edge of your image. You won't see any of that. Because of the focal length and the crop factor of the camera, it goes straight through and you don't even notice anything regarding that. Okay, next piece I'm going to throw on is the Film City HS2 follow focus. I love this thing. It's solid metal build and a great price. I don't exactly remember what it was when I bought it. It's probably on sale now, but very versatile. You can reverse the gear to this side, you know, if you need to push it forward and bring it back. It's got A and B points, and really a solid piece for the price. So I'm going to throw that on the bottom here. Now we're getting to the back side of things, the power, the monitor. So the next piece is the CamVate V-mount power plate, which is awesome. It's got a USB port, 5 volt for your camera, 12 volt for your monitor, and a D-tap. Funny thing is, the cables that it comes with all get in each other's way. So I use the D-tap output on the battery actually, and then the 12 volt output from the plate. But I like this plate because it's the only one that's fit a V-mount battery. Like, I've got a few different ones, and for some reason none of them would lock into the V-mount. So this one I have found does lock into the V-mount, and it's really great. Before I put this on my rails, I'm going to put the small rig T5 SSD mount on the back of this to save room. So essentially this just holds your solid state drive in place because you don't want it just dangling or taped to your rig. So this is a really great tool, and it's just perfect. And it goes right here on the back of your plate, or you can put it anywhere that there's you know, threaded holes. There's plenty on the cage. Perfect. So this is ready to go right here on the back of my rails. Slides nicely in there. Now I'm ready to slide my V-mount on to the plate. I'll slide it forward a little bit, but still want to leave room here in between so that there's room to access the touchscreen if you need to. All right, now I'm gonna actually connect everything. Oh, sorry, one more element. Now I'm gonna throw my monitor on. I went with the FieldWorld 4K, what is it, the F570. It's just a 5.7 inch HD screen. Actually, I guess it's 4K. I went with this because number one, it's $200. Number two, it has the 12 volt power input. I originally bought the Atomos Shinobi and I liked it, but the fact that it didn't have the 12 volt input and it was an extra $100 to load LUTs and have you know, histogram, or etc., which this actually has a lot of the same features for less money. Plus you get the 12 volt power input. I really like that, and I needed that. And I'm going to mount that with my friction arm. And cool. Now I'm going to attach my DTAP Blackmagic power cable. I got this. You can buy this on Amazon. I'll put a link below again, but it's like 15 or 20 bucks. Works perfectly. I just take it right out of my DTAP power here on the camera, on the battery. Sorry, my V-mount battery, and I kind of like snake everything around. Perfect. Next up, my USB-C cable to my Samsung T5 drive, which again is just going to slide right in to this slot. Loosen it up a little bit. It sits perfectly right in there, nice and secure when I tighten it down. I'm going to put this in first. And I like to run it up underneath the rails just so there's no strain on the, or bend on the actual cable coming around into the mount. And I'll feed it up in, connect it, and then drop it back down in and tighten it. It's got a tightening knob for both the actual drive to hold that tight, and then also the cable. So there's two nice tightening points there for that. Next up is my HDMI. I just have an Atomos high quality HDMI. This is more for if you're recording to an Atomos external, but I really liked the coil design, so went with this one to send into my FieldWorld monitor, and it works great. And then finally, the 12 volt power for the monitor, which is a huge plus of the FieldWorld, a huge plus of just this entire battery system, and I really like it. And goes right into the monitor. And that cable comes with the CamVate plate. So there you have it. There's my Pocket Cinema 6K camera rig. It's heavy and it's fairly large, but it does the job. Hours of power with this, and the camera itself is amazing. I'll put some links to some of the videos I've shot with it and I'm going to shoot. But thanks for watching. I hope this helps you. Again, this is just the stuff that I had. There are a few other options out there that I think could be better. But these work great and I really like it. It's definitely a little bit heavy. So you'll want some sort of a support rig. I don't have the shoulder mount, but that would probably help. But yeah, I really like it and the camera is amazing. So check it out. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and I'll see you next time.